Good evening, good morning, good afternoon for everyone here in the world. I'm here in Brazil. My name is Dietrich Wilkie. For the Brazilians, Didi Wilkie. And so I have people from all the way from California to Europe here in Brazil. And today is not in Portuguese. We are actually switching the languages and having a live in English. So one of the reasons for having this live and this channel is really to invite people that actually have great knowledge to share a little bit of that knowledge with us in these times of pandemic where everybody's a little bit anxious, and to join forces so that we get people with extremely good knowledge, experience, so that you can actually learn some from them. And this person that I'm actually going to invite, she's been here for a while. She actually did all the introductions in Portuguese, but while we were talking, we realized that this conversation actually would mean much more to the English-speaking countries than what we did here, because it has been very, very exciting. We have been getting a lot of feedbacks, so it's going to be a pleasure to have these amazing people here and share her story, her journey, and talk about someone that should never be forgotten and really dive into this. So for everyone that's new, if you're coming in for this time, actually say hi, introduce yourself. This is going to be recorded, so you always can come later and see the entire feed. If you're not part of this channel, if you like the products and you like the content, please put a like, subscribe, so that you know in advance and before everybody else what the next topics are going to be. And I think that's very important. We have an amazing year with very, very, very fun people coming in from all over the place. So we're going to talk about Chinese medicine. We're going to talk about communication. We're going to talk about music, art. We're going to look into all of the areas. We're going to talk also about the market. So stay put and let's join. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce this amazing person. So welcome, Fabiana. How are you?
Hi, good, and you? How are you?
I'm doing well. It's warm. Brazil is going to this crazy mode, right, of very cold weather and then going to the hot weather. So I'm in between. So cannot complain. I'm glad that the fires are out in the United States. I'm glad that we are controlling a little bit the fires here in Brazil. So I'm doing well. How about you, Fabiana? How are you?
I'm very happy to be here to talk psychoanalysis in English because we have a lot of work to the psychoanalysis in English. The English people need to know more about psychoanalysis.
And I was really excited because when we talked about the topic, right, which I'm actually going to do here, is Freud will never be overtaken. It will never be forgotten either. It dawned on me. I realized, oh my God, this is actually a very important thing.
The importance of Freud in our life.
It's very important, right? So before we dive in, part of this live and part of this channel is to obviously people to get to know who you are and what's your journey and why you decided to be into psychoanalysis, because we will talk about Freud, but you actually follow the psychoanalysis by Lacan, right? So he's from France, right? French, right? If I guess so.
Yes.
It's going to be exciting, and we're going to actually have a couple of other meetings talking about Lacan, because we're starting the progress and we're starting the process of knowledge in the psychoanalysis by starting with Freud and then moving into Lacan and identifying the big differences of how people utilize psychology in a place where Lacan and Freud is actually used, and the behavioralists and looking at behaviors and that we are experiencing in the United States and in other countries. So that's very exciting. So without further ado, Fabiana, introduce yourself so that we actually can know you a little bit better.
I'm Fabiana Hart, psychoanalyst from 20 years practicing clinical psychoanalysis. And Freud comes with the modernism. It's another way. The arts has changed, and all the world is thinking about another way of life, And to know psychoanalysis is to know the unconscious, the other way to see. So I did my graduation in University PUC in São Paulo, and I knew Freud, I knew Lacan, and I fall in love with them. And I started to work in an institution of cancer, many problems, many people, with children, with adults. I manage with the people that work there in the institution. So, and Freud gave me tools to work, and to not and to put the people to think about their lives, and how to face the suffering, how to how to face the cancer, and how to because it's a hard path, it's a hard way to follow, and it was really nice to follow with them and to help them to see in another way. And then I did my post-graduation in the other institution, but I am clinical, psychoanalyst clinical. Is that?
Why did you decide to choose this route of becoming a clinical psychoanalyst? What made you like that area so much?
I since I was teenager, I see a diva in front of me, you know.
As well, right? When you sit down and you're, yeah.
Yes. First of all, I think I said in other live, I don't know, but I was in follow. I was very passionate with literature and theater. And I like to know the character, to understand the character, the density of the character, and to start studying psychologist and psychology and psychoanalysis. We have to like to study and to read and to go deeper in the issues and the points. So nice. I started with that, and then to jump, to treat people, and to be in a hospital, and it was easier, and I like very much as listen to the people. As I am reading a book, you know, to know characters, and I can interfere in their life, to they grow and to understand the life, and they can change their lives. That touch me to be a psychoanalyst.
That's actually very nice. And if anyone comes in, I know that we have a couple of people actually, and I apologize, we were not able to advertise it as much as we wanted, but still, since it's going to be recorded, I hope you all come back later and look at this amazing material, because it's actually going to be very interesting. We're going to be diving in a little bit more. So if you're there, say hi. If you are familiar with Portuguese, today it's actually English, so we can actually achieve a little bit more reach, right? And reach other people. So you actually mentioned, right, and in the live, actually, Fabiana in Portuguese was saying that she was interested in literature and theater, and that's really what was passionate. Now, looking at the 20 years that you've been doing this, where are you, what are your biggest accomplishments, and what are you doing right now that's actually creating a real effect and solving real problems in today's situation? Right. I want you to talk about the wonderful project that you're doing with the group. So if you could talk a little bit about that, I think that's very important.
Yes. As I starting previously, I studied in a French school, and I like very much to study French. And when I arrived at the university, I read Freud in Portuguese, not in Germany, so sorry.
I can read it.
Yes. But I could read Lacan in French, and it was really nice to. In 20 years ago, it's not so easy. The translation was not easy. It was Lacan, and it was Lacan is not easy. But I had this. I could see that, and it was really nice for me. Then I I realized that the English people, the people that speaks, the people that speak English, they don't have this opportunity to study so much Lacan because it's not translated
English.
to English.
Uh-huh.
We part Lacan was translated to Portuguese and to Spanish. But
Okay.
to English, it's nowadays it is being translated, you know.
Okay.
So I seen movies and of course reading papers and knowing I use it to use Skype and other tools to treat people all around the world. I could see that many people don't have the opportunity to do analysis in all parts of the world, you know.
Okay.
And that's a pity. And
Yeah.
in my opinion, it's the point is because of the this kind of translation and the way to think, you know, to study psychoanalysis, it's necessary to introduce the other the part of the mind, like the unconscious. It's not all everything rational. And the English, it's very rational and yes, administrative and economic. It's very it goes very well, but for psychoanalysis, we need to think a little bit out of the order. And so I 20 years I'm being a psychoanalyst. I've been psychoanalyst, and I am doing class of Freud, and we start to think doing English class of Freud and Lacan
Wow,
to give the
that is so great.
opportunity. Lacan too, of course.
So, right. So, what you're telling me, which I never knew, is how exciting it is to understand that English-speaking countries, because Lacan and Freud were not translated,
Yes.
that it's been hard for people to actually really analyze and get deep into the teaching. And what I really love about you, Fabian, is that you are really looking into being able to show this to the entire world. So you're actually starting to offer classes on Freud and Lacan in English so that people can start really diving into the study of those two people, which brings us to this moment, right? Why is Freud so important? And why we are still talking about Freud nowadays after so many years that he's been gone? And one of the things that you just said very quickly, that we're going to dive in a little bit more, is that I think Freud was the one that acknowledged that there was another part, which is the unconsciousness, that we need to really make sure we actually have and look at. So, Fabiana, let's talk about why Freud has not been forgotten and what are the teachings and the main points that Freud is bringing that we still can use in today's world.
Yes. First of all, I want to say that the Lacanian is being translated. So it will help me. I will not translate. Yes,
I would help, yes. We're looking into that, and we're actually looking into something in the future. But I think it's so rich for everyone to have access to some very, very nice things. One of the things, Fabiana, that I was really, really excited, and we're going to again dive into it a little bit more, but I was very surprised to see the difference between behavior changing the actions without really interfering into the subconscious. Yes. And there's two different ways of looking into treating someone. We can look them as behaviors, so actually affecting the behavior.
Yes.
But that does not necessarily mean that we are actually affecting the subconscious and changing someone and getting to the root of the problem. And yes. I think that's really what psychoanalysis, especially with Lacan, and with Freud is showing that we need to respect this unconsciousness to get to the purpose of the person, to understand why the behaviors are starting, and not just take care of the behaviors. Am I getting this right from our conversation?
Yes, yes. So, in 1900, Freud started psychoanalysis, and just the modernism, he puts another another order in the world. Like he said, that is the unconscious. We can't see the unconscious, we can't take an X-ray of the unconscious, but it's there in some part. We can see with the thought, with some mistakes, with the symptoms we have, with the dreams and the unconscious. It has his own loss. And when I study psychoanalysis, I study the law, the movement of the unconscious. And
Okay.
what I see is, and we say that each person knows about their lives. But I know about unconscious, and I can ask the person, make questions and something to touch the unconscious, to move the unconscious, and not only as other therapies
Okay.
that take only the conscious, only the rational, only some behaviors. Of course, the unconscious is in front of us, it's around us, and all the time the unconscious is, we are touching, of course. But the idea is that the Freud gave tools to really treat this extra and we can see one person that has of course, the system, the intellectual system, very well done. Like the person studied, have a lot of diplomas, and if the person has the structure in the unconscious, if the person has the emotional intelligence, if the person knows how to treat some person and how to put the ideas and how to the way the person has your life, with the choices and everything. If the person is with an unconscious, very, I don't know, bad or not very strong
We
or
right, yeah, not strong enough. Yes.
not very treated the person. What I say in Portuguese is that it's like a football, because Brazilian people likes football. If the conscious and the unconscious, if it's not treated, they fight, they play against, the boy.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So if you don't treat it, so they're actually fighting against each other like a game in soccer, right? So
Yes,
okay,
yes.
interesting.
And if you treat you play at the same team, and you are a partner of your unconscious.
Okay, that is actually really, really interesting and very nice to hear. So this is one of the main ish things that Freud actually really brought to our human society, is to really prove that there is actually an unconsciousness,
Yes.
right? It's all around us, and that we need to really make sure to treat that too, not just look at the superficial part, but to good. So what else? So what other things that I think that was one of the most important things that Freud brought? But what are other things that you believe that Freud has been important for and has actually helped us to maintain the efficiency of psychoanalysis today?
One point is the symptom,
Ah,
and that is the yes. What I see as an analyst is the person, the symptoms brings the person to the analysis or some treatment.
Okay.
And the person wants to get rid of the symptom.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it's not nice, of course. But all the pharmacology and all other treatment, all let's take out of it, it's not nice. For Freud, the symptom has one sense. There is one sense in the symptom. For Lacan, the symptom has one, it's not meaning, but a function.
Okay. So they got a meaning, right? For the symptom actually means something, and we need to make sure that we're paying attention to the symptom and not ignore it. Okay, or treat it, or give medicine, or do something quickly. There's actually more to the symptom than we should look at, right?
Okay. Yes, if I have syndrome of panic, and I'm going to work every day that I'm going to work, this symptom appeared. So we have to not only to take out of it, but we have to think about it's an opportunity, because the unconscious is talking to you, talk with the person, and rationally, the work, it seems to be very, I need that work, it's very good for me. But emotionally, are talking, some part of the emotional life in the person is talking, no, it's not nice, it's made. So if you have one time to think about, and 1 hour a week, more or less, to think about in ourselves, you can think, why it happens, or only in the middle of the to going to work, what has happening. So, or I have a headache with my boss, I have, I don't know, if we stop to think, we can make connections, and you can translate it, what the unconscious is talking, what is the meaning of the unconscious, and yes, if you...
I like that. And I think for everyone that's listening, and thank you so much, David, for being here. Thanks, Doc. So it's a pleasure. If you have any questions, please make sure to put it here. Then I'm going to put it here in our paper here, and for everyone to see. But it's actually important to realize, right, that symptoms, sometimes we want to get rid of symptoms, but we actually need to understand where the symptoms are coming from, why it's there, and what's really causing it, so that we can really understand and solve the real problem, not just the symptom. Awesome.
Yes. And one more thing, can I say?
Yeah, of course, always. You are the master here, so you are the boss.
The point is, if you get rid of the symptom, and there is not something to put in the place, replace the lack space. Sometimes they start to the suicide, because the symptoms have a function, and distract the person. The person is talking. If the problem is eating a lot, or drink a lot, or have medicine a lot,
or
you are
interested, right? Yeah.
Yes, the lack is full of problems, and all your brain, I need to think, I need to think about that, and spend time with that. If there is a lack in the space, and the person don't know what he wants to do, or he wants to put in the place, or what the sense of their lives, This lack lead the person to the suicide. It's one big problem with the problem with the obesity. It's one of the points.
Overweight, you're obese. Oh yes, that is actually that works. Awesome. So what else did we bring? So we talk about the unconscious, that it exists. We talk about symptoms are there for a reason, and we cannot just get rid of them. We need to understand them. They are there for a reason. What else did Lacan bring that's important that actually we use still today?
So Lacan says about being a subject, being one person unique, one person singular.
Okay.
And the point is to treat that, to treat the unconscious, and to treat how the person will be a good guy, a good person, and how to enter in the world. And for him, doing that, being strong and being the same team of unconscious and conscious, the symptom he's going out alone as a consequence,
Okay.
And the person is starting to be stronger, and the second point you can think is the consumerism. The consumerism.
Yes, consumerism. It's when we spend too much, right? The overspending on things, right? Spending, right? Okay.
Yes, we are in the world that and there is a new movie that everybody is talking about, the documentary in the Netflix about social net, or
social network, right? Okay.
Yes, and just talking about that they manipulating our wishes, our bodies, and in my opinion, psychoanalysis is the point against that, because
that's manipulation. So we can actually use psychoanalysis to help us with that manipulation of what's happening in the consumerism, right? And overspending, overdoing, and doing things that we don't even know why. I didn't know that. That is very exciting.
Because if I know that I am a singular person, and if I know what I want, I will not following what everybody wants, what Google is telling me, buy that, going that. I know what I want. So I want books. So I enter in the books, and they show many books. No, I don't want the bestsellers. Or one or other. I know what I want. The point.
So actually what you're telling me is that psychoanalysis helps you to become an individual and understand that you're an individual, a unique person. You have your own thoughts, your own desires. And once you are so present as a unique person, then you are able to really guide your life and not be manipulated by entire media. Very exciting.
Yes. It's the future of the world, psychoanalysis.
Right? I think it's important. There's so many people that are doing a lot of things without knowing what they're doing. They think that they're living their own truth, but they're not really living their own truth. They've been manipulated, they've been influenced. But it's actually interesting that through psychoanalysis, you're able to really understand your own individuality.
Yes.
Understand how to become a partner between consciousness and unconsciousness, and to actually really look into your symptoms and understand why they exist instead of just getting rid of them.
Yes.
Very exciting. Love it. So we have three strong things that actually Freud is bringing to us. What would be the another thing? So what's the fourth thing that Freud is bringing and that we're still using from his teachings in the past?
So it's only because I thought in one thing I will say, and then Of course, we are inside the world. I will not say I am no nothing. I buy influenced for the
We
Google
are.
or other things. No, of course not. We are inside the world and no problem. But and Lacan says about the demand of the other
Mhm.
and the wish of us.
Okay.
Everybody demands us. Our family demands that you be a good person or be rich or be have children or many demands. Family, work, friends, many people demand
You're right.
Google and Facebooks. But if we know ourselves and if we have what we are, who we are, and what our path, our what we want to follow, of course, we will buy or we will go more in our field than buying anything or it's
Yeah.
I didn't want I didn't want to say oh I
Well, we're
ah,
not perfect. We're humans. We're inserted into society. Obviously, we are at some point social
yes,
human beings. So at some point, we are actually being influenced. But by
yes,
understanding that we're unique, we have a little bit more protection than other people. Awesome.
yes, yes. And I would like to say, as I said before to you, the documentary of the Amy Winehouse, that it's a pity because it shows for us psychoanalysts, or I think for everybody, that how she was in the range of the other, she doesn't know, she didn't know what she wants about his career, or she didn't know. She
Yeah,
was
it was
like,
actually interesting how she put her lives and how she was influenced by everybody who was around her, not
yes,
knowing who she really wanted, not knowing her purpose, not knowing what she wanted to do. And when you are in charge and when other people start controlling your life, it becomes much easier for you to lose control. So it's actually really sad.
yes,
Okay.
yes. And that shows she's a very well singer.
Well,
Of
she's an
course,
amazing lover, right? Obviously.
yes, yes. And she likes to sing, to play the music, of course. But if she had, my opinion is that if she had the opportunity to make the exercise in her unconscious, she could be stronger and face the people, face the media, and put her ideas that she even knew she didn't knew what she really thinks, and it's that if we don't have one place to think 1 hour a week more or less, and we start to be like a doll to the
Right.
others.
So what you're telling me, right? So I think it's hard to just describing when you know that you can help someone, when you understand that there's another way, when you can actually talk about the unconsciousness, help the unconsciousness, build it so that you become an individual. You understand that you're individual, you are there. So you now start facing other people. Now you're able to really identify what's important for you. Maybe had she done that, or had she had the opportunity to do that, she might be still alive or maybe here doing music. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But it's actually
Yeah.
important that we're talking about this because we identify in the world that there are different ways. And it's actually very important for us to really open up and see different solutions to find which one is the best solution for certain areas. So I'm very excited, and it's amazing, right? We heard about Freud for so long and being so 1900s, and that someone that far behind to acknowledge and already understand how important it is to work with the unconsciousness. It's very fascinating.
Yes, my opinion, it's
Right?
really fascinating. And as we said before too, the anonymous, the groups of anonymous, I'll call
But
it
the
as anonymous.
AAs and the groups where you talk and the group talks and the right. So yeah, we talked about it. So
Yes, it's important to have a group, a social
it's
connection.
support, right? You need to have a support and social support system. So supporting
Yes.
is actually important, and obviously those groups they actually do that. They support the person. They have a support system.
Yes, but
Right?
psychoanalysis has some criticals about because as a support is good, but for a treatment, it's like that they talk too much about symptoms and not about subject. And
Well, I
they
think that's important to understand. So even though it's a great support system, the treatment of people that are in that level are only been looked upon at the symptoms, but not as the subjects. And because of that, many are not really being able to recover and they stay in the support system, but they're not getting out of the problem. Correct?
Yes, because treatment, really treatment, it's like why mental health is treated in group and biological health is particular, is each
Right?
one, you know.
Yeah, that's actually interesting that you just said that, right? Why do we need treat in group, but then when you have a doctor and you treat yourself, on your body, you do it individually? Right? It's a
Yes.
great, very great point.
Yes, and so the group it can be support and talk and have friends and a social place, but not treatment. The
I see.
treatment to give the force, the straight to the person start another life, to think about themselves and to think in other project and not the symptom is separated. It's in another place, you know.
Perfect.
And the person can avoid some substance that it's not very well to them, the person. But to be treated, it's more than that, you know. And
Perfect.
to do family, and as I said before, the symptom has a function, and so even though these destructive symptoms like uh, alcohol or drugs, it has one function for the person, and to start a new life, to know what the person is. It's not a easy way. It's not easy, and to fight against symptoms is it shows to the society that you are fighting, you are trying, but it's only only don't you see what you really need to see, you know.
We have a question here. How can you describe the concept of treatment to psychoanalysis?
The treatment of psychoanalysis, Freud said, is talking what comes to your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Freud started doing hypnosis
Mm-hmm.
to touch the unconscious.
Okay.
But he realized that the person was unconscious And when the person wake up, when, the person didn't know what she had said when it not helped.
Right. So there's a real disconnection between the conscious and unconscious. So even though you were able to tap into the unconsciousness, because you were not aware, it didn't really help because you were only in the unconscious business. Okay.
And then he started to listen to the person and tell me what has happened, and not about symptoms, about anything, about life, about dreams, about
day-to-day things, what he did in the day.
Small things, yes. And he started to see, the person was getting better. The symptom is going out. And he realized that this way the person talk and the other person listen to themselves and listen to the doctor, and that exercise brings one force to the unconscious, straight the person getting stronger, right. And that is the concept. But the point is, it's our society goes to another way, with medicine, with I need to resolve that quickly. I need to solve the problem. I don't want to think about it. So to study psychoanalysis, it's going against the flu. I don't know, against the
flow, right? Yeah. Interesting. So if you looked at that, what's the goal of psychoanalysis?
The goal of psychoanalysis is the subject, to be Freud and Lacan say that there is the I and there is the subject. We are two we are divided in I, the ego, and the more deeper inside us, that's the subject. And the point is, if we have if we are being stronger in our subject, our ego is going small. I want to be here, to talk to you, to talk to the people, not to my ego, my beautiful way of life, But I want to be here to talk what I think it's really important to the society, to make a difference in the world, to the people treating and getting better, So it's a proposal.
Right? It's your purpose, right? So you go into much deeper what you want to accomplish, right? The purpose.
Yes.
Then also, so the goal of psychoanalysis is to get to know yourself, to really understand who you are, to write out and find out what the purpose is, and to have a deeper knowledge from the difference between your ego, right, and your unconsciousness.
Yes.
So that's the goal of the psychoanalysis, correct?
And the people don't want to see the lacks. We want to be perfect, brilliant, and but much of the time is stereotype. It's only to showing the social connections, and the idea is the person became. The point is stronger and doing things that they want and not.
Awesome.
And the point is to connect with the symptom, like to say, I am like that. How I will make it. With my limitations, with my problems, how I will do that, and not, I don't have problems, I don't need to think about,
Perfect. What's the relevance now that we're looking at understanding that unconsciousness exists, that we need to be looking much more at the subject than just the symptoms, right? To understand that it is important for us to analyze it, to make sure that we understand that the symptom is there for a reason, to understand that there should be a connection between the consciousness and the unconsciousness. What's the relevance of psychoanalysis to the world nowadays?
In my opinion, if the person knowing more about themselves, as I said, it's like it's not the consumism, and it can be lower, and the people can be, I don't know, happier. The Freud that said is pessimist. He talks about the not bad mood, the society has problems, and he's
He's a
pessimist.
realist, right?
Yes, but Lacan is more optimist. He says that we can be happy. The way to the analysis is the way of the happiness of the person, but not the fake happiness, It's the true happiness, to be with the person want, to live how they want, and each person choose their lives, and not. So, in my opinion, more psychoanalysis in the world is less symptoms and more subjects,
Perfect.
more wishes in the world, more true happiness.
So between Freud, obviously you love Freud. We talked about that, but you became actually Lacan, right? So what made you decide on following Lacan, and what's Lacan's conception of symptoms?
So I will tell something particular very quickly. I will give you an example of the symptom for Lacan. That
Okay.
the point for Lacan is it has, as I said, it has one function.
Yes.
So when I was teenager, like 17, 18 years, I had many moles in my, you know what is, warts or mole, like verrugas.
Ah,
Mole.
mold. Okay, yes. Okay. I didn't realize. Okay, so you had a lot of molds, yeah?
In my head, my hands, and I used it to put my hands in the pocket, and I said, and I was a little bit distance to people, mainly with guys, and then.
Of the warts, and I found the right word. It's warts. You had a lot of warts, right? And that made you be a little bit standoffish, right? And not go and not, with the guys. Okay.
Yes, and my mother brings me to many medicines and many doctors, and nothing happened. Nothing happened. Not helped me.
Nothing helped. Nothing happened. So they want to get rid of the warts. So they took medicine. You went, but nothing happened. Okay.
Yes, and then one day I was with a guy that was holding my hand, and I said, "Oh my God, you don't see that? It's very disgusting. How do you do that?" I said it like that, and he looked and said, "Oh, no problem. I had to," and gave a kiss. And I thought, oh my God, I looked like that. And in that moment, I felt it not works. The smalls didn't work. It didn't work. So, and then I slept alone. And when I wake up, there was no moles in my hand.
Oh,
Yes,
look at that.
it was shocking.
It is shocking.
Yes, I looked around. Oh my God, what has happened? I was a little bit ashamed. I didn't talk to him and even told to my mother that was crazy with me with these malls. And so let's be psychoanalyst now. The point is, when I arrived in my analysis in the FAC, in the university, I started to talk, and I forget this point. I've never think about go on. So when I was doing my analysis, I remembered, and I realized that I suffered from love before. And I made a symptom, an unconscious symptoms. I put some barrier in front of me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
If I had this, it's like a protection.
Yeah.
And I made some. I don't get in touch so much with people, you know, like.
It was a protection because you actually created you created the symptom.
Yes, but
look at that.
Look the beautiful of the thing, the point, the function. I didn't like the most, but that protect me, that separated me from guys, mainly guys. And when he gave me a kiss, I felt in that moment that don't have more function, you know.
Yes. So that function no longer works.
Yes.
So interesting.
So if you arrive to me, and when I was 17, you said, Fabiana, it's your mind. You are doing that. Yes, your fault. And that is Freud says, don't and it's easier to see the other, it's easier to give advices, it's easier to say that the person is wrong, but the person needs to talk, the person needs to see and to realize the function of the symptom. So
I actually am going to say here out loud that Freud was an amazing friend for coaching, because we understand in the coaching that the only way someone becomes the best version of themselves is when they actually talk and they become the best version they want and not what I tell them to do. So in telling people, but if the person talks to themselves and realizes himself, it's much stronger, much more powerful, and it changes the person forever. And that's exactly what you're just saying, right? That it's important for people to understand who you are and not what other people tell you. It's easier to look at the other. We have a lot of blind spots that we don't see ourselves, so we need to talk to understand them and to realize them and to, understand what's happening. This is very exciting.
Yes, and you look at that. When sometimes I tell to some patients that story, and many times the symptoms of them stopped. You know,
look at that.
Yeah, something conscious that they say, oh, let's do other thing, you know.
Meaning, right? It's important to understand that when we do not see ourselves, when we are not able to acknowledge why things are doing, what type of symptoms you're creating, that might be a protection. We need to make sure if that protection really is important, or it may be substituted by something else, so that we can become our own things. I'm so impressed, and actually, I was expecting this to be much longer, but we're already getting to the hour. So before we get to the hour, I would like for you, actually, Fabiana, if are we forgetting something that's important about the importance of Freud? We talked a lot about unconscious, about subject, about making sure that you have the combination of them. So what would you like to contribute to us that are watching as far as importance, not just Lacan and Freud, but something that we have not been able to touch that's important for us to talk about?
Yes, but the point is only to finish the idea is that how the symptoms is ambiguous because I want to get rid of that, but I needed that.
Yes.
That's one point. The other point is how it is. We needed to decipher. Yes, because it's an incognita. It's a
kind of like
mystery.
the Da Vinci Code. We're deciphering the knowledge, right? We're trying to understand who we are, symbols, through we're trying to decipher and actually really start breaking down to find who we really are and what's really behind it.
So it's a mystery, and you have to take care of it, you know. You need to try to decipher with love, you know, with taking care. It's not, oh, let's go out, no. It's part of the person. And if we decipher, it's so nice. You can understand yourself, your protections. You will not do that anymore, because if the person doesn't realize what is, the symptom change. You solve that, and then it changes, and it's beautiful to discover and to choose the other way to lead with people, you know, and all the time it grumpy, like it's connected with love, with relationship, with you know, with your life. So it's wonderful to decipher and to have a new life. It's that the importance of the unconscious, the psychoanalysis to the world.
Perfect. So we actually always end our calls with you giving the biggest insight, what you want to leave behind, what's something important you want to leave as a message to the people that are watching. So we have a couple of minutes. So Fabiana, with everything we talk about, the importance of Freud and obviously understanding how important he is, right? Because without him, we wouldn't really be able to really find us, understand the unconsciousness. So very important. What are your final messages that you can tell to the people that are watching, so that you can leave an insight, a teaching,
yes,
or whatever?
I need to say, go to the analysis, make your analysis, study Freud. Don't be so hurried to solve the problem, but the way to achieve the solution is the point, and not only solve the problem, you know. It's the figuring out to achieve the one.
Well, yeah, what you just say is right. Don't be so scared, understanding that you have blind spots. Don't try to just go over it. Don't try to take a medicine to solve the pain, to solve the things quickly. What you're telling us is that it's important for you to really understand the root of the problem, where you are, what's happening, right? And not just look at the symptom as something bad, as a behavior, something that needs to be changed, but really ask ourselves, what and why is this behavior really there, and how are we going to solve it?
Yes, and the behavior you change as a consequence, normally, naturally, and not so natural.
But really nice. So instead of just taking care of the behavior, if we solve the real problem, the behavior will be taken care of. It's not the end. It's just a symptom that helps us to see that something is worthwhile talking about, getting to know, interested. So it's actually the
Yes.
interest in yourself, to getting to know yourself, to becoming your persona, to understand that you're unique, that you're an individual, that it's part of who you are, that you have an unconsciousness, and you need to stop having them fight, unconscious
Yes.
and conscious, and have them as a partner. And when they are partners, then we become a stronger person. Fabiana, it's been it's always very exciting to have you here. I think that's very important for everybody that's watching with the pandemic that we're seeing right now, how important it is for you to find your individuality, find the partnership between the conscious and unconsciousness. Don't run to have a quick solution, superficial solution, but
Yes.
actually go deep, get to know, read Freud, understand Lacan. And we're going to talk a little bit more in the future. So hopefully we have time during this year to come back. We can dive into Lacan. I think it's important because he's the next step after Freud. And it would be very nice to us for us to understand a little bit more about him.
Thank you
Everyone,
very much, the invitation, the opportunity to talk. Thank you very much, you and all the people that are saying
and I
being
wanted to
with
hear,
us.
right? So Fabiana is amazing. She is actually online. Obviously, she will talk more Portuguese than English, but sometimes she actually dives into the English. So I
Yeah,
want to,
sorry, my mistakes. I'm doing my best to be understood. Is that?
and you did amazing, Fabiana. So I'm very proud. So this is her Instagram, Psicanalista Fabiana Rachi, right? She's a Lacanian psychoanalyst, right? And that's her Instagram. So follow her. Pretty soon, we're going to actually hopefully have things to do in English and classes to do in English so that people that would like to know a little bit more about psychoanalysis can dive into the teachings of Freud, the teachings of Lacan, and understand a little bit more, get into the depth of it, and actually dive into the power of what psychoanalysis can do.
Yes.
Fabiana, it's always a pleasure. It's so nice to talk about things and to give people knowledge, to talk about something different. To everybody that's watching us, thank you so much for being here. Ask your questions. I'm always looking after it. Put your comments in, and I will get them to Fabiana if she needs that. So to everyone here and everybody there that's watching us, goodbye, peace, and see you the
Thank you
next
very
time.
much.
Bye.
Bye bye.